people, and welcome back to Fiscal Crunch Time 2016. And as a man of my word, we're going to talk about self-sustainability today. We're going to talk about self-sustainability today. Now, with all of the fairy tale make-believe rigmarole going on in the cities plural throughout the world, Turkey going through a coup d'etat, which was put down by Erdogan and his crew. The people in Nice being hit by a truck who just gave it all in. And the mayhem that's going on in the United States of America. This is only a detractor. Because at the end of it all, there's still a great financial disparity in the world. And what's going to happen is us, the people on the streets, I've been calling this gin pop in the last few podcasts. It's kind of funny, but that being said, we need to discuss self-sustainability. So today, this is what will be our discussion for today. And then my word to you is I will take you through on Wednesday a way to feed a family of 4 for 1 year for less than what you're paying per month year to date. Self-sustainability. The first and most important thing for us to discuss are the 3 separate things. One, you've got to learn the rules of prosperity. 2, you've got to think, pack, and store for the long term. And lastly, you got to think, plant, grow, and eat from. With the way that the world is today, and all of these events I just outlined for you, it seems very obvious that the risk lies in what we've been taught our entire lives. To get a job working 9 to 5, get up, go to work every day, no advancement. You get a check, you're happy you get the check, but that money's already gone because you got to pay bills. You got to put gas in the car. The price of gas is flip-flopping up and down, up and down. And by the time you get home after paying the gas, you go to the refrigerator and realize that it's empty because the kids ate all of the food, drank all of the juice. I lived it, so I'm telling you from experience. It's more riskier to you to hold on to a 9 to 5 job than it is to start your own business? Question mark. Food for thought. Crazy thing there, my uncle had worked 25 years the same job, and he thought he was going to get an advancement, thought that he was going to get a promotion. Reality of the situation is they had a new computer that was introduced to them about a year back. They had been working with it, and he figured it's just in the back room. I got nothing to worry about. But that computer shows up to work on time. All you have to do is hit the switch and cut it on. There's no risk of being late, trying to put your time clock, or have a friend punch the time clock for you like you're on shift when you're not. That being said, a lot of us choose to take security in pulling down the check and having it directly deposited into our banks, which on a side note would actually lead you down the dark road of this NIRP'S I keep discussing the last 6 podcasts. Negative interest rates at the bank, they're coming. I know you haven't seen it yet, but based on what happened this past week in Europe, and if you guys tuned in and listened to Yellen's address in the face and the shape of Brexit 2 weeks back, and the last 3 days, the jobs report came out last week for June, totally false and wrong. What would be the problem in starting your own thing, starting your own gig, having your own situation where you make the rules and nobody can fire you? So with my uncle being laid off, downsized, outsourced by virtue of a computer that doesn't talk back, doesn't complain, doesn't shake and jive, and shake and shift and move and try and shuck you around so you can get a bonus or something like that. The computer just does what it's told or what it's programmed to do. There's no more security in security. The phrase being something that was introduced to me or penned to me earlier today, having a discussion with my god brother, is dead on point. So let's get started. The universe is showing people that they're only earthly survivors. Not divine. We're not talking about God. We're not talking about Allah. We're not talking about your gurus. We're talking about your earthly survivor is that which rests in your own hands. And if we go back, and if we go to the Santa Biblia, Bible in Spanish, or to the Quran, or the Torah, we're told that you got to work with your hands if you want to get something. So now we refresh. You've got to, one, learn the rules of prosperity. What is the rule of prosperity? What are the rules of prosperity? Now, Kisede, Wales, please tell me. Produce more than you consume. Simple as that. That's the rule of prosperity. Produce more than you consume. Now, how many times do we pull up to the table in the morning for breakfast? If you break the word up, it means break fast, which is going to speak volumes to my Arabic and Muslim subscribers who are just coming off of Ramadan and Eid al-Fatah. They were fasting all day. And they were hungry in the night. Not the other way around. If you're waking up from a long night of sleep, how do you wake up and you eat 2-3 plates of food? You don't get hungry unless you're working, exercising, getting it in, sweating blood. Well, you've got to rejuvenate your battery. You got to charge up, amp up. But this is taking us down the dark path, the dark road. Second, I've got listed in self-sustainability is pack and store for the long term. Not just food, which is what I was just discussing, producing more than you consume. They both of these, the 1-2 points, it's like a 1-2 blow, Batman and Robin. You pack and store for the long term financially. Get a job. You got a job. Did you have an IRA? Did you have your money put up somewhere in some long-term investment fund? Were you going to pull down more by keeping it in the investment house or with the brokerage firm for an extended period of time? So that in the long term, quote unquote, the phrase, you have something to grab and pull down. A lot of us never even heard of these type of investment structures. On the food side of things, I'm going to talk you and walk you through this Wednesday, Thursday, how to feed a family of 4 for a full calendar year for less than what you're spending on a monthly basis right now today. Think in terms of the long term. A wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And with what you're going to learn how to do, you're going to be able to restock it up without spending much money. Because as you eat off of, you only restock what you just ate. What you just consumed, you restock it, and it becomes a never-ending well, almost like a Ponce de Leon, the legend, who was searching for the fountain of youth throughout Florida. Also legend that the conquistadors, who they say settled Mexico, which is also disputed that they were there, were not there. But this is something that stories were told, but they were based deeply in fact. The greatest fiction is always deeply rooted in fact. Don't forget that. The third, plant, grow, and eat from. I briefly touched on it about 30 seconds ago. about the plan to feed a family of four for a year, you're going to be able to grow off of that by virtue of you starting and taking the very first step. Small caveat, what I'll talk about on Wednesday, Thursday, it's okay to start small if you don't know how to plant anything. How many of us have been in a science class in middle school or high school where we had to plant a flower in science class, and we had to fertilize it and bring it to bloom, and when it bloomed you got an A in the class? The same type situation will hold par for the course with the self-sustainability plan. That's what we'll call it, the self-sustainability plan. Back to square one, produce more than you consume. I want to take you to something I spoke about in my book, Money, subsequently translated into dinero, argent, falus in Arabic, Spanish, and in German, the German translation is coming in the next 60 days, Geld. There are 3 rules to handling money. The first, you can get a job. You can work to make money. Now, mind you, that belies the whole point of this podcast. My uncle, 25 years on the line, same job, doing the same job for years on end, was laid off. 2, you can have someone work for you. Do you really have what it takes to be a boss, to fire and hire people? Do you have the umption, the guts to look somebody in their face and say, we can't use you anymore? The third, you can have your money work for you to make you more money. These are things you really need to think about and discuss and be prepared to handle and deal with. Segues me into another story I wanted to tell today. This is the incept and concept of what they call shadow banking. They call it shadow banking because no banks are used for people to delineate funds and utilize those funds as they see fit. Living and transacting business in South America, in the Middle East, I'm sorry about that, please forgive me. In the Middle East and in Southeast Asia, I saw a few things. Every week or once a month I would see this. Once a month I would see these people carrying jewelry into a building, leaving from that building with nothing in their hands, no longer in their hands. What were you doing? You carried all of this gold and diamonds and stuff and ropes around your neck. You had diamond earrings on when you went in, and then when you left you had nothing in. So I'm wondering, what's going on? What's going on? So I started to ask questions. The inquisitive mind actually is told as a child, the inquisitive mind will actually get you places because you ask the right questions. So I came across Ate Marie, who was an elderly Philippine lady, elderly Pinoy lady. Pinoy being the term in the Philippines to describe where you're from. Pinoy means that you're Filipino or Filipina. So I asked Ate Marie, I said, hey, what's going on? Asayin, Galakanyo. So what are you doing? So she said, I'll show you. So she took me to a beauty salon. In the back of the beauty salon, they had an office. And in that office, there was the lady that I discovered was actually running and sending money back and forth to the Philippines by herself, with only the operation that she conducted from the back of the beauty salon. She was liable for sending about 50 to 75% of the gross domestic product of the entire country of the Philippines annually. How does that work? A Pinoy needs to get some money. They need to borrow some money so that they can pay their rent, so they can purchase a diamond ring, so that they can, do whatever they got to do. Pay tuition for their kids to go to a private school, or to the academy, the international school where they're going, or what have you. So instead of going to a bank which needs paperwork from you, what you do is you go to a fellow countryman, a compatriot that can loan you the money. Vis-a-vis, this is where all of the jewelry that they would go into the office with once a month would vanish to. That jewelry, the gold, the diamonds, the rings, the necklaces, the gold teeth would be placed into a safe to be valued next door or around the corner at a jeweler, goldsmith, who would put a valuation and he would fill a receipt that you would take back to Makati about how much it was valuated for. And then sometimes she would loan you the money, give you the loan, have you sign a promissory note, promise to pay or what have you, which you may remember from my last podcast. And you would have to pay that money back in lieu of you receiving one of the pieces of jewels or one of the earrings or whatever you had put up as levy, or as, what's the word I'm looking for? As security. You put your things up for security to take out a loan. This is what they still do this in the United States now. At any pawn shop or pawnbroker that you may see on the side of the road. Or in Mexico you see a lot of these. You see a lot of these also in Europe as well. You just have to know what to look for. You have to know what to look for. Now, of the three ways to make money, this fits hand in glove. You can get a job, you can work, but then you can be laid off. 2, you can hire someone to work for you, but you have the impetus to fire and hire the next person. A lot of people don't. And lastly, you can have your money work for you to make you money. Now, having asked my Kathy how much money it took her to start this fledgling shadow banking business, she laughed and told me, not much. She started with her wedding ring. And she took her wedding ring, went to the same jeweler that she was utilizing to this day, and had him pay her for holding the piece of jewelry. These are things to think about. So that being said, produce more than you consume, which means push away from the table, people. Push away from the table. Pack and store for the long term. Plant, grow, and eat from. This is you eating from the work of your own hands. The food tastes so much better when you put love into it. Thank you for your time. I hope you guys took notes. If you didn't today, you'll definitely need to come Wednesday, Thursday. Because I'm going to talk to you about feeding a family of 4 for a year. For less than what you're spending now for a month.